we have to release. With change is this new beginning energy, right? Like it might not feel that way. It might be like despair and grief and be like, what is happening? And yet there is this firm ending of something. Welcome to Intuition Unlocked, the podcast empowering empathic women who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their intuition, begin to trust their sensitivities, find inner clarity, and show up with embodied, unstoppable confidence in their daily lives. I am your host, Olivia Ashley, an empath and intuitive, and I am so happy you're here. Hello, dear friends, and welcome to Intuition Unlocked. I feel like I'm coming to you with a breath of fresh air after 10 months of just uncertainty, unclarity, overwhelm, exhaustion, all these things that just were really hard. I feel like they came somewhat from left field, and things being felt that just weren't in alignment with myself. And so I showed up, I did the work, I made the hard choices, I set the boundaries, and I did these incredible things that are bringing me back here, renewed, reset, and ready to take on life once more. And this season of fall is just this beckoning of support. This month feels so supportive. It feels like we are in the car. We've got everything we need. We got the music, we got the snacks. We are like heading towards our destination. And that's all we need to do right now. So today's episode touches on a lot of what I just brought up, that change really is inevitable, but it's how we navigate it that defines who we become. So from what I just shared, I have had a year of change, of uncertainty, of having to go back to the drawing board again and again, of having to deal with trust. Can I trust myself? Is this worthy pursuit? Should I do these things? What can I release? And as an empath and intuitive, we can really feel change so much more intensely, especially suddenly if you're not only processing your emotions, but often carrying the weight of others too. So in this episode, we are diving into how to harness change as a catalyst for clarity and confidence rather than letting it overwhelm you. Because I've been there. I know we all have. Maybe you're still there. Maybe I'm still there a little bit. And yet I really believe we get to decide what we do from here, right? It is inevitable. And yet how we navigate it defines who we become. So I'm going to share how we can turn our sensitivities into strengths, set healthy boundaries, and create grounding rituals that make these transitions smoother. So let's move from chaos to calm together. And the first thing I want to chat about is really recognizing and processing your emotions when you're moving through times of change, and really every day, right? I think on every day we need to be checking in and recognizing and processing these emotions. Really being empathetic and empathic means you feel emotions, yours and others, on a truly deep level. And then when we're already doing that and then something comes in that knocks us off guard, or maybe we get news that really we weren't expecting, or a relationship ends, or moves, finances, relationships, so much can happen and it can happen quickly. So I really have found, as I have navigated times of change, and when I reflect back to being in my 20s and just moving through life and not noticing these emotions and being like, I am so strong, nothing's gonna get me, I am just hard-headed and I can just keep going, I would be rocked on a really insane level. I would just have days where one day I'd be fine, and the next day I would just remember I'd wake up and be like, I'm just gonna cry all day. It's just one of those days. I can't stop it. It's a train. It's hit me. It's coming. And the moment someone, and everyone does this in a workspace, goes, "How are you?" I would just start bawling and crying. And I'd be like, "It's not you. It's just a hard day." And I'd have to work through it, right? Like for the most part, that was not an acceptable sick day at the time. Now I feel like culture's changed a little bit. And I'd be like, "Take a sick day, girl, go do what you need to do." But I share that because at that time of my life, I did not know I was empathic. I did not know I was taking on not only my emotions and energy, but those of everyone's. Like my channel was open, my energy was open, and it was helping me to some degree. I could be intuitive, I could make decisions, I was feeling connected to myself. And yet, without those really recognizing and processing and having the space to check in and release, I was a mess. And so we want to be noticing how we are doing. How are we feeling? And I think the first step in that is having some time or space to have an area where you can check in and do that. Doesn't always have to be every day, but it can be simple and short. And I think it will go a long way from my own experience and my experience working and having many friends who are just like us. So you need to pick what's going to work for you firstly. Not everything fits everyone. And with everything that I'm going to share today, and always take what resonates, leave the rest. You will find the little things that fit for you, and the rest just like listen to, see if they make sense to implement. But a lot of the practices I really go to, especially when I'm feeling like my well is going to start bursting and bubbling over, or I just went through something really hard, or change is right on this doorstep and I don't know how I'm going to deal with it. It's like, take a breath, Olivia. Take a breath and get out from where I'm at. So sometimes it's just get out of my house, go walk, sit in nature, be in nature for even 5 minutes. Just have some different space. Have the wind hit my face, have the sun soak into my skin, and just remember, oh yeah, there's this world out here. And what I'm feeling internally is a lot and so valid. And yet there's this bigger, brighter reality that we can connect to, that we can remember. It's like this zoom out that happens of, oh, wait, I'm a part of this much grander, beautiful life. Look at these birds. Look at these ladybugs. Look at this, the leaves starting to change their color. And it begins to allow this settling. At least that's how energetically I feel it. I see it. And you don't really have to do much more than that. It's like surrendering is probably one of the biggest things that you can do as an empath. And those, when you're feeling these emotions, is surrender to the emotion, surrender to this moment. Feel that. What is the root of that? Note that it ebbs and flows. We go through seasons, we go through hard times, and it's good. We need to release them. We need to just have this release. And so nature, I find, is always an amazing soother. It's going to hold you. It's going to love you. I love when the animals come to you. The last couple of weeks, what I've been picking up is animals run in front of me because they know I'm not going to kill them. And then I get to have this beautiful experience. And so I've kind of turned it from, oh gosh, why do these animals jump out in front of me and scare me, to, oh, how beautiful I get to experience and make sure this animal gets across safe. Because I had turkeys run out, I've had deer run out. I mean, name your animal, it's run out in front of me. I had a turtle once go across the road. We live in Colorado and it was the middle of nowhere. Strangest experience. But okay, back to the thing. Notice the animals that are coming up to just spend time with you, to say hello to you. If you have a pet, a cat, a dog, a bird, whatever, like do some cuddle time with it when you're feeling overwhelmed. It amazes me the frequency, that soothing, that comfort that we can have with our animals. That can also be a really supportive practice when you're feeling like you need just a space to release or be held and just comforted. My other go-to, which I've done since I was a kid, is journaling. And I know for some people this is really hard. What do you mean? What do I do? I love to just say free write. Either first just I am feeling da 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 da, right? This is what's happening. Here's how I'm feeling. This is what I need to do. This is what's hard. This is the emotions I'm going up. Just process. Use this as your personal, private space to just dump your brain, dump your heart, dump everything that's worrying you, freaking you out. And once you've done that, I like to couple it up with then either really intentional things like 3 things I'm grateful for, 2 things I'm working on or want to call in this next week or month, what I need more of, and or if that doesn't feel right, then I like to do some card practices with oracle cards or other to get more clarity. Because I think a lot of times when we are processing emotions or moving through change, we are just like, why? Why are we doing this? Why is this happening? What's the big picture? As an empath, as an intuitive, we want to know, we want to connect those dots. We want to feel and sense because we want to fix, right? We want to nurture, we want to help. And so I love lifting it up to spirit, to my guides, to my higher self, and using oracle cards, tarot deck to ask a very pointed question. Avoid yes, no questions. It should have a very specific question you're asking that they can answer for you, and then giving it up, pull a couple cards and see what happens. That I think always reassures me. I feel reassured. I feel more settled. I feel like I can process that, or if like I can't get to something, I can get more clarity around that. And then lastly, I would say breath work or simple meditation. Just search it. Simple breath work for a reset, breath work for emotional support, or a simple meditation that's either just music or a guided meditation. You can find them anywhere. I should probably create some for you, huh? But that's more to come. But I would just say, remember, your emotions are valid. What you're moving through is valid. There's no need to judge the emotions that you're feeling. It's how do you be present and start to shift. I think mindset and belief work are key to managing your emotions. So in times of change, I think things can begin to feel really muddy. So asking yourself some reflective questions as well could be supportive, such as, who do I want to be today? How do I want to feel today? What do I want to receive today? What do I want to let go of today? And just be in the moment, see what comes up, and just use that as a tool to feel in and get more connected. Another piece that I find when I'm moving through massive change is it's almost like you're forced to do this. And if you don't do this, it's just going to be harder on you. But essentially, you need to establish boundaries to both protect your energy, yourself, your creations, your time, your space. When change happens, everyone wants to give their opinion, or you might be tempted to take on the emotional weight of others and loved ones, especially those of your partner and children, right? We're nurturers, we're empaths, we're deep lovers and care for those in our lives deeply. But in this time, you need to focus on you first. So get yourself on solid footing, and then invite others to move through their own emotions and feelings with you if that feels right, especially with a partner or a child, once you feel good. So I think it's really important to begin to understand your boundaries. What boundaries do you have? Don't overthink it. Boundaries can be really simple. They can be around your time, your space, your personal beliefs, what you will or won't do, right? Like, when will you be on your phone? During what time? When will you respond to people? What do people expect you to eat or not eat, right? Like, there's so many things that we can set boundaries around. And yet when we're in change, it's like, babe, this is a sensitive, vulnerable time. Hold yourself. I visualize this beautiful bubble of light, of strength, but also care. Like, you've kind of put up your protective energy shell. So I think if you haven't, visualize an energetic shield around you. It's not impenetrable, but it's a protective space. It's whatever color you feel is most supportive. And it's like this big, beautiful egg and shield around your entire body down to your feet. Something I really love to do when I'm feeling off is imagining a shower head at the very top and rain just pouring all the way down, releasing everything that I'm holding. I'm clearing my energy field, my emotions, my body. I'm coming back to a grounded sense. And then I'll turn that tap off and imagine all that water that's pooled going out through my feet through this drain and noting like you're sealed, you're supported, and that is just there to help enforce those energetic boundaries, because it's just as important to watch your energy as it is to set true verbal, physical, emotional, spiritual boundaries. All of those are so important. So I think really noticing, where do you need them? Depending on what you're moving through, I think sometimes it can feel really supportive to decide for yourself to not discuss what you're moving through outside of a few really chosen people who you know have your back and can hear you and listen and be supportive until you make those choices to open up, if ever. I think another one is with your self-care, with your time. Maybe when you're moving through something that's really taking a lot of your time, maybe you're putting effort into this change and making sure it's going to go well, or you need just more time to ground, to be with yourself, to release those emotions and feel confident and clear that you don't say yes to as many engagements or things in your life, that you kind of step back. You let yourself be in this in-between space and note that there's a time to being on and pushing, and then there's times to kind of pull inward and protect and support yourself, and you know what you need. So just being really mindful to protect your emotional and energetic reserves, because that's what's going to get you through this time. It's that self-care, it's that support. Boundaries are not selfish. They are self-care. And when you're in a period of transition, they will help you protect your energy and allow you to heal and move through whatever you're moving through with just more ease, clarity, and hopefully confidence. And something I find that really helps start to bring this confidence piece and this clarity piece is releasing the old identities and embracing the new ones. So with change, it often calls us to let go of the old roles, way of being, our thinking, maybe even our goals. We have to release. With change is this new beginning energy, right? Like it might not feel that way. It might be like despair and grief and be like, what is happening? And yet there is this firm ending of something. That is what change is. There's this end, there's this adjustment, there's this shift. And so it's beginning to, when you're ready and it makes sense, to open into this newness, open into this new way of being. And what does that mean and look like for you? So we often, as women especially, tend to tie our identity to our external roles. And so change can disrupt that. It can feel confusing. Specifically, I can talk about me and motherhood, that I'm moving through the evolution of motherhood, that I really felt this year, and I've talked about on this podcast, that my soul contract of babies has really been completed. It's not to say I won't have more children. And yet, after I had Stone and he was about 18 months, it was like this weight lifted. I felt so clear. I was like, whoa, I feel accomplished. This last decade was motherhood. It was me being pregnant, birthing, recovering, postpartum, raising babies, toddlerhood, childhood. And I went through that 3 different times. And my youngest recently turned 2 and is starting to sleep in his own bed. And so, one, huge win for my health and sleep. But 2, it really has had me needing to adjust my own identity and what that role means. And somehow I feel like I've let them down, or I'm not enough, and they're not going to need me as much. And how do I show up in this way? I know how to do the baby stage, the toddler stage, even early childhood stage, but getting into like early teens and such really overwhelms me. And noting that this could be it, like we could be done moving through these transitions, really freaked me out. So I leaned on my mom friends. I leaned on those who are a little bit ahead of me. And I also remembered that there's a me underneath mom. There's an Olivia underneath mom Olivia. And so it was integrating those aspects of myself that I kind of just let go. That wildness, that fiery, adventurous, no fucks giving aspect that I'm like kind of ready to bring back into my life of, oh, wait, I can raise my babies and I got them through this period and they are thriving and doing really good. And I can do that too. And I can have both of these roles and feel good about it. So, that's my best example right now of really having to release and also embrace new aspects of who I am and what I'm moving through. And I challenge you to do so as well. How can you embrace the idea of growth and transformation by letting go of the identity that no longer serves you and also welcoming, maybe you didn't want to let go of that identity. Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe you're still striving to find that identity again. Reset yourself, right? You moved through it. You're in the midst of it. So, noting that you might still have a while before you really even understand what that new one is. And it's a journey. Like, how can you enjoy the journey and the growth and the change? I see like the tower card, the crumbling, this shift, and yet always in between is this beautiful portal, this beautiful doorway that's like, this is hard and this is earth shaking. And yeah, I've got you. Okay. You've got yourself. I've got you. Your guides have you. There is this bigger understanding that we don't quite know yet that is going to behold itself here soon for you. And so trust the moments, do the work, show up, lean in. And I think what can really help you with that, which is part of this bigger podcast that I'm shipped into, is harnessing this change and this crumbling and this adjustment for spiritual expansion. So for many of us, change will spark intuitive spiritual growth. It just does. Not sure why, but it's like this shift happens. I found this as I moved through motherhood. I found this as I moved through grief and death. These big endings just spark these new beginnings. And so noticing where you're at with this. Maybe you're just getting curious. What is my intuition? What is a spiritual practice? I don't feel connected, but I'm curious. And I think that curiosity is something to hold to and pull that thread, okay? And I'm here with you. We're gonna pull it together because I've been pulling this thread since I was like a teenager. And I'm like, let's go. Where can we take this? How far can we expand? And so starting to really listen to yourself, to that gut, to that voice. I think the first thing you can do if you're unsure, am I intuitive? Do I have that voice? Yes, you do, is asking these really simple questions to get a sense of where do you feel this in your body? How can you start to check in with yourself? So I want you to first ask yourself it's essentially like a yes, no question. So you're going to ask a question that you know is a truth. So let's say my name is, and in my example, it's my name is Olivia. You ask that, but with your own name. Where do you feel that? You should get this lit up sense or this nudge or this like, aha. I get it in my heart. Yes, that is a truth. That is a yes when it's a yes. So notice, you can say it a few times. My name is this, and say your real name. Once you've noticed that, and please pause if you need more time, or say something else that's a truth. I live in this space. Yes, no. Then you're going to ask something that is not true. That is like a no, it's not. So I'm going to say, my name is Amanda. And my throat just immediately tightens. And my name is not Amanda. And my body's like, no, you're not. What do you mean? So say that with a name that is not yours. You do not claim it. Where do you get that no sense? Okay. So I love this because it's doing multiple things. One, it's telling you, you have answers inside your body. It can say yes, no, maybes. You can work with it in so many ways. Two, You can trust yourself. You can ask questions and get clarity. And 3, this is just the beginning of a very deep well of possibility of what you can do once you really start trusting, working with, and getting these nudges. So, noticing and leaning into practices that will help you tune in. Some of these are kind of consistent across the board for what I already shared. A meditation practice, I know that's always talked about, but it doesn't have to be the quote unquote get quiet, clear your mind. It's a practice of, you could be meditating while you're doing the dishes, but you need to have something that's getting you in between that conscious and subconscious space. So if you're doing the dishes, put binaural beats on and have something that you're listening to. It's kind of like driving when all of a sudden you just kind of lose track of time and you're getting information, or you think of something, or you come back and you're like, whoa, how did I get here and where did I just go? You start to begin to notice and get more insight, especially those who are not used to getting insight or hearing their voice, when you're kind of really relaxed and in that in-between state. But just knowing from my experience, you got to get quiet to begin to hear. So however that is for you, however you want to set up that space, I will also say it's very simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not feel like you have to do 15 steps in order to get quiet in here. You just need to be in a quiet space. You just need to drop in, take a breath, and things will begin flowing, and ask the questions, okay? And then another one, like I said, is pulling tarot or oracle cards, but asking questions, asking guidance, and then getting the answers through the cards. And my last most fun one is going to be asking for signs. So being like angels, guides, spirit, whomever you talk to, my highest self, I want to know this, and I want you to send me a physical sign. So show up through a song, show me some things. I want to consistently be seeing this. There's a lot of play with signs. This is a whole topic for its own episode, but you can start to really set some things. You can choose a sign that you can request around a certain thing that you're looking for an answer on, or for support. Or even if you're like, do I have a guide? Be like, guide, show me a really random animal. Show me a peacock. Okay, I just want to see peacocks, and I'll know you're there with me, and then just wait and see. And if you do this and you are having fun with it and having these cool experiences, share them with me. Come on Instagram, go to my website, send me a message. I want to hear these because I love these. This is like, let's bring magic to the hardness, mundanity of life. We really can. And so this is a time to lean into your spiritual power. Change is really going to invite expansion, even if we can't see it in the moment. And lastly, the last thing I really want to hone in on is creating some type of grounding for clarity and calm. So this could be a ritual, this could be a practice. Again, simple. Life can be really simple and fun. That is your goal, to create this. So change can leave us feeling scattered, anxious, overwhelmed, emotionally fraught. So grounding rituals and grounding practices are going to offer you stability. And there is so much around grounding. I know I talked with it a little bit with Angela Husney in one of our previous episodes. Just search ground and you will find it, or search Angela Husney and you will find it. It's in the name. I'll link it below as well. But some of my favorite grounding practices are walking barefoot outside. It is taking an Epsom salt bath with a couple drops of essential oil and relaxing, having a candle maybe, doing some simple energy clearing work. I'm a Reiki master, so I've worked with energy, but anyone can work with energy. Just imagining this life force in your hands that's cleansing, that's supportive, that you're in that protected bubble, and then just using your hands to guide it. Where are you called? Place it on your chest, place it on your head. Often I find when we are overthinking, we're overwhelmed, our head is just buzzing. So letting that grounding energy come through your hands, into your mind, your head, wherever you place them, and just give yourself 10 minutes, okay? I promise you, you will not feel the same afterwards if you do this, okay? Set a timer, just let yourself be, maybe listen to some of your favorite music, and just be with yourself. And then nature walks, always, always anything in nature. Get out of the city, get out of your house, or even just go in your backyard. Look at a flower, look at a bird, look at the sun, put your feet up. Just allow yourself to immerse and feel grateful for this beautiful life that you are a part of, this body that you have, this gratitude. I think gratitude can really help ground and pull you into your body and remind you that life is okay. It can be hard. It can be sad. It can be so frustrating and confusing. And yet, notice the little things. Notice the little things to be grateful for the beauty that is in your life every moment of every day. And you are so worthy of all the love, of everything that you want. And just remember that. So, I am so happy you are here. I hope that this was a supportive conversation and that these can give you some helpful tips and tools to just reset and go about your day and move through change with confidence and clarity and get out of that overwhelm, that exhaustion, that emotional chaos that we can often feel. And know that if you are feeling it, you're not doing anything wrong. You just need a little bit of tending to, right? Some nurturance. So change is a part of life, but your ability to navigate it with grace and confidence really depends on your internal practices, your internal connection, and that intuitive voice and knowing that you have. Your empathic nature, your intuition, they are your superpower, and they're going to help you get through this. So trust your intuition, lean into your spiritual power, and remember that boundaries are essential. It is not just for those who have the time and have the ability. It is essential, vital self-care. And make sure you're grounding. Get into your body, get into yourself, love up on yourself, ask for space, for time, for nurturance, whatever you need. So I am sending you all the best. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend or anyone who might need support during times of change. Thank you so much for being here, for feeling empowered, for choosing to show up for yourself and helping yourself move through your day today. Thank you for joining me on Intuition Unlocked. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of insight, guidance, or intuitive inspiration. To dive deeper into our community and get access to exclusive content, head to my website at www.olivia-ashley.com and subscribe to my newsletter. You can also connect with me on Instagram at wildlyolivia for daily inspiration and updates. Remember, your intuition is your superpower. Trust it, nurture it, and let it guide you. Until next time, I'm Olivia Ashley, and I can't wait to connect with you again.